Next up is Mike Lowder, who is a first-term Myrtle Beach City Councilman running for your second term.
Yes, sir.
So for people who've maybe just moved to Myrtle Beach, aren't aware of who their council members are, who are you and why do you want to run for another term?
Well, my name's Mike Lowder, of course. I moved to Myrtle Beach in 1969, sophomore in high school. And I've been here ever since. I moved here with my family. 4 years later, I'm the only one left that lived in Myrtle Beach. I've spent my adult life here except for 4 years when I served our country in the United States Marine Corps. And the rest of my adult life I've spent as a law enforcement officer or involved in security. I retired from the Lowder County Sheriff's Office as Chief Deputy. I worked for Myrtle Beach Police Department a large part of my career. And for the last 14 years, I've been working in, a little over 14 years, I've been working in the private sector in security. I'm married, I have 2 wonderful children, a wonderful wife, and both were raised here, both attended public school, both attended college. My daughter's in college now in Washington, D.C., as a matter of fact. And I find myself in a little bit different situation than in the past. The first time in 8 years, I'm trying to get reelected versus trying to get elected. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Myrtle Beach, and I have not taken that lightly. I would hope that folks would see and that what Mike Lowder stood for, what Mike Lowder's tried to do, and that they would allow me another 4-year term.
It seems to me, interviewing the members of council and just having been around for the past 5 years, Myrtle Beach City Council members tend to pretty much build a consensus. You all seem to kind of work as a unit. Do you see it that way? Do you want things to continue the way they're going, or do you feel like you're the outsider kind of pushing for a different direction?
Well, I think when I first got elected, some folks thought I might be the outsider, and but one thing you do learn, you learn to build bridges, and one thing that I've always been good at has been team building. And so you have to build that, and you have to get along together. I will tell you, we don't always agree. We have our times, we have our discussions, but at the end of the day, it's a discussion. And when we get through with the discussion, a decision's made, and we all move forward after that.
Sports tourism seems to be a big push right now as far as City Council goes, building the new addition over at the Convention Center and different things. Do you think that is that a good thing? Is that you want to see that continue?
Well, yes, I do. Number one, sport tourism is the fastest growing tourism there is in our country today. If you look back just a few short years ago, Myrtle Beach had a tourism industry that had about a $20 million direct impact in Myrtle Beach. As of 2012, I haven't seen the figures for 2013 yet, but of 2012, the direct impact on tourism was $132 million. The great thing about this project that we're looking at and getting ready to build, as a matter of fact, there's a twofold thing. One, because that money was borrowed from the state and how it was borrowed, we have to build a 100,000 square foot building. So this gives us an opportunity to kill, as I like to say, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're satisfying the state's requirement mandate to build a structure, and also at the same time, we're tapping into a part of sport tourism that we haven't even begun to tackle yet. And I will tell you, at conservative figures right now, it's around 25 million more in direct impact with volleyball, basketball, and this flat space surface building is going to allow for some other things, table tennis and some other things as well. So yes, I think it's at the end of the day, it's going to be good for us. More heads in beds, and the other thing it's going to do, the shoulder seasons in our community, this facility here will allow us to bring more activity to Myrtle Beach, more tourism during the shoulder seasons as well.
Tourism, obviously the economic engine that drives Myrtle Beach, but do you think that other industries should be courted, or?
Oh yes, I'm a firm believer that, well, there's no question, number one, tourism has been the #1 driver for Myrtle Beach forever. And I feel that for some time down the road, it still will be. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, we do need to look at trying to draw other industry into our area. Bosch Linneman, which is going to have grand open, I think, either tomorrow, I mean, maybe tomorrow, not exactly, or Monday. And that's just one example of a different type of industry that's moved into the city of Myrtle Beach. And there's a couple others that's moved into the county recently. All of these type industries, they're going to bring in higher paying jobs, we hope, and it kind of just, now you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
I want to talk about crime for a minute.
Sure.
Some candidates saying crime's a problem in Myrtle Beach, it needs to be attacked. The argument could also be made that it's a perception of crime, not necessarily crime. You're a former law enforcement officer.
That's right.
What do you think about crime?
Well, the truth is every city has crime. No question about that. We'd all like to think that we all long for the day when I was a kid, I hate to say how long ago, but when you could leave your door unlocked, you could leave the screen unlocked, and you didn't worry about things. But we don't live in that society anymore, so we do have crime. Now, do we have the crime that folks have said that we have? Let me tell you, our crime rate, and yes, there is that statistic that's out there that the FBI says we have something like the #1 crime rate. Personally, I don't remember exactly what it was, but at the end of the day, what folks need to understand, that is based on per capita. That's not based on the annual year-round population, the folks who actually live and are citizens of the city of Myrtle Beach. It's based on the entire amount of tourists that visit Myrtle Beach year-round. So when you look at it from that perspective, it would look like it's high. But do this math right here. If you take the amount of folks that come here, divide that by 365, it comes out about 80,000 people a day. Then take that 80,000 per day, compare it to other communities in the surrounding area, the 2 states, and you'll get a whole lot better picture. Do we have crime? Yes, we do. We are, there's nobody that I believe in my heart, there's nobody on council, there's nobody going to run for council, and there's probably nobody in the city that's in tune with crime any more than I am. I spent my whole adult life involved in preventing and being involved in fighting crime. So there are things that we can do. One thing that's been a great asset for the law enforcement in our community, 6 years ago or so, we had 8 or 9 neighborhood watches. We now have 22 neighborhood watches in the city of Myrtle Beach. Neighborhood watches work. You learn who your neighbors are, who's supposed to be in your neighborhood, #1, and then you learn to see and take care and look after each other. That's just one part of it. We provide the resources our law enforcement officers need, and we're continue to do that. I've pushed for more resources since I've been on council for law enforcement and public safety as a whole, so we're going to continue to do that.
All right. Last question for you. I can't, but if I could, why should I vote for you?
Why should you vote for Mike Lowder? Well, let me say this here. I'm not a politician. Never have been, never wanted to be a politician. I'm a servant. I've spent my adult life serving this community, and I want to continue to serve this community. Prior to being on city council, I coached rec league football for 10 years. I umpired baseball. I was involved in law enforcement explorers. Again, I served as a law enforcement officer. I served our country in the United States Marine Corps. The other side, I'm accountable, I'm accessible, and I'm responsive. I answer phone calls, answer emails, and sitting on the dais doesn't really do it for me, but working behind the scenes, working with our council members, because #1, I can't do anything by myself, but as a team, we can accomplish things. So at the end of the day, what I truly do, I want to serve our folks in our community. I love Myrtle Beach. I must love it. I've spent the last 45 years here or so. So at the end of the day, I care about Myrtle Beach, I care about our citizens, and I want to continue to do the service that I've been doing.
Right. Mike Lowder, running for Myrtle Beach City Council for a second time. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you.